What if I told you that in different part of the world being considered beautiful once meant breaking your feet, stretching the appearance of your neck, blackening your teeth or squeezing your waist into a quad set? Sounds painful, right? But here's the interesting part. The people who followed these practices didn't necessarily think they were strange. They thought they were beautiful. Let's go back in time. In China, where one of the most painful beauty practices in history, foot binding. For centuries, particularly among Chinese women, small feet were considered extremely desirable. And when I say small, I mean extremely small. Girls could have their feet bound from a very young age. Their toes were folded underneath the foot and tightly wrapped, forcing the foot into a compact size. The ideal was known as the golden lotus or lotus foot. But this wasn't simply a fashion trend. Small boned feet could become associated with femininity, elegance, marriageability, and social status. But achieving those tiny feet came at a cost. The process could cause severe pain and difficulty in walking, and yet, for generations, this was considered beautiful. Today, most of us look at foot binding and immediately think, why would anyone do this? But perhaps that's the exact point. Beauty standard became so normalized that people stopped questioning them. Now let's travel to Southeast Asia, particularly to communities of Kenyan women in Myanmar and neighboring regions. You may have seen photographs of women wearing row of brass coils around their necks. At first glance, it looks as though the neck itself is being stretched, but that's not quite what happens. The weight of the coil gradually pushes down on the collarbone and upper ribs, creating the visual impression of an exceptionally long neck. The practice has cultural significance and has been associated with identity, tradition, and ideals of beauty. And this is where beauty becomes fascinating because something that looks unusual to an outsider can deeply be meaningful to the people who practice it. Today, most of us spend money trying to make our teeth look whiter, but there was a time when in parts of Asia the opposite was considered beautiful. In Japan, a traditional practice known as ohagoro involved blackening the teeth. It may sound shocking today, but historically, blackened teeth could be associated with beauty, maturity, and social status, particularly among married women and certain members of the aristocracy. Ironically, the dark color was sometimes created using substance that helped protect the teeth from decay. But if you think squeezing, binding, and coloring the body was extreme, wait until we get to the waist. Now let's move to Europe. For centuries, women's clothing was designed not simply to cover the body but to reshape it. And one of the most famous example is the corset. During the Victorian era, tiny waist became an important part of the fashionable female silhouette. Corsets were tightly fitted around the torso to create the appearance of a smaller waist and an exaggerated hourglass figure. The fashionable idea was not simply to look good, it was make your body look like the ideal body of your time. And that sounds strangely familiar, doesn't it? Because today we might not use the same corset, but we still have shapewears, waist trainers, and entire industry designed around changing the shape of our body. Which brings us to the most uncomfortable part of this story. We often look at historical beauty practices and think people were crazy. But are we really different? Look at social media. Everywhere we turn, we are shown a certain version of the perfect face and body. Clear skin, particular body shape, tiny waist, full lips, thick hair, certain nose, and sometimes even a particular shade of skin. The truth is, we are not so different from the people in the past. They followed the beauty standard of their time, and now we are doing the same.